Home of the world champion Chicago Cubs. Yeah, you haven't been able to say that ever. Last time they won it, as you all know, 1908. But they are holding that banner and looking at it every night on the north side of Chicago. The Rockies invading. They've played well here the last couple of years. Baseball is next. It was a beautiful Chicago day, not too warm, and during the afternoon, not a cloud in the sky. The beaches on Lake Michigan were filled up. And inland, several blocks from Lake Michigan, Wrigleyville. And they have arrived early, as we were talking about a moment ago. Big series in the middle of the season. The Rockies at 38-23, leading the NL West. The Cubs at 30-28, a little hangover perhaps, but they're just a game back behind Milwaukee, their neighbors to the north, in the NL Central. John Lester toweling off. He'll be on the mound, the veteran left-hander with 149 career victories. And Charlie Blackmon will face him first. Charlie, 2 more hits yesterday. He's up to 333. The on-base percentage, 374. And Charlie will head up the lineup. He has more at-bats than any other player in the National League. Impossible to take out of that lineup. LeMahieu, Nolan has really hurt the Cubs the last couple of years. Mark Reynolds, 4 for 7 against Chicago when the Rockies took 2 of 3 from Denver earlier this year. Cargo will bat 5th, Ian Desmond 6th. Trevor Story swinging it, he'll bat 7th. Tony Walters behind the plate batting 8th, and then Tyler Chatwood. Well, John Lester did something in his last start. Forget all the numbers about pitching. Everybody was abuzz that he picked the guy off, Huey. Tommy Pham of the Cardinals.
First time since 2015 that he was able to pick somebody off over there. So we'll see if that plays tonight. 12 starts, 1 complete game, 3-3. We mentioned at home 3-0 with a 2.15. Obviously 0-3 out on the road. But for John Lester, 149 career wins. That's 8th among active pitchers. Fastball, cut fastball, curveball. I think it's more of a slurve than a straight curveball, so because it has some more sideways tilt to it than straight up and down. 12-6 and an occasional changeup. But when he's going well, it's everything from the knees and below. He will pitch up for effectiveness. He will show you up, but that's obviously not where he wants to live.
The Cubs defensively, the last couple of weeks, played very good baseball. That man has an absolute cannon, Wilson Contreras, and he'll try to back people. And he's a difficult guy to run on if the pitcher gets it to the plate in a fairly quick manner. Javier Baez, you notice, at shortstop. Addison Russell, 6 of the previous 12 games, has watched Baez play short because Russell's really been struggling. Now he's got another issue to deal with. He's not with the team. We'll explore that and expound on that in a few minutes. But Russell not available tonight. Baez is at shortstop. And we are ready for baseball as Charlie Blackmon will step in. You know what I have found when I've inquired over the years, because I'm a big fan of Wrigley and Fenway, the historic parks, and you know, they don't always have all the modern amenities. First pitch is in there for strike 1. Players either really enjoy it or really dislike it. There's no in between. Right,
but I think with this field in Boston and Fenway Park, you kind of enjoy it because it's not an everyday occurrence. Because you go to all these other fancy schmancy ballparks and there's everything under the sun there. But still, when you come to Wrigley Field, there's still the scoreboard out in center field. You still have tight seats here where people are just trying to elbow and knee their way through the crowd. But then when you go out to the field is really nice, and you draw on all that experience.
0-2, and Charlie hits this ball well to left. Schwarber going back, and he's not going to be able to make a play. Finally, Charlie got one over a left fielder's head to begin the ball game. Literally, how many times has he hit the ball with authority to left in his opening at bat of a game?
The last week to 10 days, it's probably been 6 to 8 times this has happened. The Subaru Supermo for Charlie finally gets a pitch up and hits it to left field. I think this surprised Schwarber because he didn't take off immediately into that area as he looks again on the Subaru Supermo. but where it started to hit there, he's got to worry about the wall coming in at different angles.
Now here's a former Cub. I've told you this story many times. DJ loves to play against Chicago, the team that basically gave up on him. Rizzo thinks he's going to bunt, and DJ, if he had a notion to do that when he saw Rizzo.
Because he gave it away early enough, so DJ could see that. When you're standing in the box, you'll see that guy moving. You know, for a left-handed hitter, you'll see the third baseman. For DJ, though, he saw Rizzo coming in, so he's not going to bunt into that. He's going to try to hit it that way.
Lester comes inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cubs have given up 51 first-inning runs, which is one of the poorest figures in Major League Baseball. Rockies typically quick starters. Rizzo came down again. That pitch is off the plate. It's 2-1. Home plate umpire is Jerry Lane. He's also the crew chief. Dan Bellino's at first. Mike Esterbrooks at second. Marvin Hudson at third. It's a good look at Jerry. Perfect night to play ball.
Isn't it, though?
I mean, you played a lot of games here at Wrigley, Huey. This is ideal. And that is back to Lester. And he'll be able to hold Charlie Blackmon.
It goes against everything you want to do as a base runner when that ball's hit back to the pitcher. But with John Lester and his history of being able to throw,
you thought about going there.
You think about going, but it goes against your instinct. What are you taught? The ball hit back to the pitcher, you don't go. And even with John Lester out there, you don't think about going, but it's still, I mean, I'm sure Charlie's thinking, oh man, maybe I could have gone, because Lester doesn't like to throw the baseball.
So here's Nolan, who's tearing the cover off the ball against lefties. And he takes ball 1. He does own a home run against John Lester. It came at Wrigley last year. This is only hit against him. Just got it up and into the basket in left field.
Well, it doesn't say how far. That one went a lot further, but the basket counts as a home run here.
And that is inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think something that Charlie's trying to do out at second base is distract John Lester. It's a game plan. Everybody has it. Everybody wants to do it against him. Charlie dancing around out there.
Well, now the stolen base potential becomes of greater interest to Charlie with DJ not getting him over. But you also don't want to take the bat, so to speak, out of the hands of Nolan Arenado. 2-1. Nolan has hit .351 with 4 home runs, 10 driven in over his last 9 games against the Cubs. And that misses. 3-1. Rockies have played well against Chicago. They have won 6 of their last 9. They've won the last 3 series against Chicago, and that includes obviously last year when the Cubs had a marvelous year even before their championship run, and the Rockies won 2 of 3 in Chicago, 2 of 3 in Denver. And Nolan cues it to first. And Lester gets there, he kicks the bag, and then he
sprained his ankle.
Yeah, he did it awkwardly, and he did sprain his ankle a little bit. He's twisted it. He's going to wave off the trainer.
Ed Halber, the trainer, Joe Madden. Over to the bag. You don't have to worry about a speedy base runner. Oh, that's what it was. He just caught the front side of it and then rolled it like you do in a basketball when you step on somebody's ankle. But it was the bag. He rolled that ankle, and that's his right landing angle.
He's not even going to throw a practice pitch, a show pitch. He said he's fine. So 2 outs. Mark Reynolds will try to come through. Reynolds in his last ball game 1 for 2 yesterday with 3 walks. He has faced Lester more than anybody on the Rockies. He's seen him 39 times. He has 8 hits against him, including a home run. That's a strike.
I think I only counted Mark hitting 2 completely out of the stadium home runs in batting practice today. I think it was just 2.
Just 2?
Just 2. Might have been 3. I might have missed 1.
Cargo hit a few that still are traveling.
There's a cut fastball at 89.
Rockies won 8-1 yesterday with 11 hits, the mini sweep over Cleveland, and now they're facing the other team in the World Series from last season. 2-0 on Mark.
And they outscored Cleveland 19-4 in those 2 games.
Carlos Gonzalez is on deck. I was talking to Cargo around the batting cage. He said, "This is great, man." He said, "We're playing well. We have a ton of confidence. And what a week. We get to play both World Series participants." And so far, they're 2-0. And the 2-0s fouled off at the plate, 2-1.
What I like too is they're finally starting to get some national recognition. I mean, not that you ever want that as a player, but you after a while you start to say, "Hey, we're a real good team. Look out for us." You know, they believe it in the clubhouse.
Yeah, you're noticing it more and more. I know that you and I and Spilly, when we travel, do more road radio shows.
For sure.
Which in years past it was not nearly as frequent. You have to go back to the playoff seasons for the Rockies. Good eye, 3-1.
Or if it was in an interleague where you only see him.
3-2, I should say. I'm sorry.
No, in an interleague game where you only see him once every 3 years. You'd go on the radio show.
Yep.
They wanted to get some information about this.
Who are you guys?
Yeah, tell us a little about yourself.
Yep. Now, remember today, a guy was asking me on the Chicago radio station about Mark Reynolds. He said, what does he put his foot in the fountain of youth? He's changed who he used to be. And I said, it's legit. 3-2, runner at third, 2 outs, and that's outside. So Mark walks down the line, his 4th walk in the last 24 hours, and that'll bring up Cargo.
It was off the Subaru strike zone. John Lester thought it was a strike. He was trying to bait Jerry Lane into it.
It's been a little bit of a trend this year, Huey, with Lester. And the numbers are still good, 3.91 ERA. But he's walking a lot more guys than he did a year ago.
And that's really not his MO. He is a strike thrower. He wants to go after you. He'll challenge guys. He likes his fastball, not afraid to use it.
Cargo takes outside. Carlos 2 for 12 with a home run against Lester. I don't know if anybody has received the amount of attention for a foul ball that Cargo did yesterday.
As well he should. I mean, there's certain foul balls that you sit there and go, ooh, how close was that going to be to a home run? Well, you really couldn't tell because it was hit so high and then it went so far. And it was foul by where it was caught. But 480 feet?
That's what they said. And I believe it.
And for Cargo just to stand at home plate. And look at this. Well, I mean, that's not quite Carlton Fisk.
That was crazy far. Some great lines, including the manager, Buddy Black, saying if you hit a ball and there's a tavern sign nearby, it means you hit it really, really far.
The other line you'll hear a lot too. Did they serve drinks on that flight?
Yeah. Served a double feature on that flight. 2-2.
Good
off the plate, 3-2.
And they're making John Lester work this first inning. It's not a strike on the Subaru strike zone.
23 pitches in. Charlie had a leadoff double. He's at third. That's 3 straight 3-ball counts. Reynolds will be off. Rockies leave 2 on in the first. Tyler Chatwood to the Wrigley Field mound when we come back. Renovations everywhere, not only inside the ballpark, outside the ballpark as well. The Cubs have a new office building for their staff, and they're doing construction everywhere you look. And in fact, this year the visiting team actually doesn't have to go out to the outfield and inside a tunnel in the outfield to hit. There's a hitting tunnel not far from the clubhouse. Here's the first pitch from Tyler Chatwood. That one is on the outside corner for strike 1 on Ian Happ. This is a talented guy. We saw him during spring training. 9th pick in the draft a couple of years ago overall out of the University of Cincinnati. And he takes strike 2.
Well, he's going to have a tough time tonight with Tyler Chatwood, 5-7, but out on the road. We mentioned it for Tyler, 3-3 with a 268. That's the 8th best this year on the road.
And he's coming off a great start in San Diego. He dominated the Padres over 7 innings, excuse me, over 8 innings, a run on 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, but maybe most important, certainly as important as limiting the team to 1 run, is that he walked only 1.
And that had been his bugaboo in prior starts. But that start in San Diego, he ended up getting 10 ground ball outs that day. We're talking about the 8 strikeouts, 10 ground outs, threw only 73 pitches through 6 innings that day. And part of it too, yeah, I mean, obviously commanding the fastball is #1, but then #2 is throwing the curveball often for strikes.
Swung on and missed. He strikes out Happ. He goes back to the fastball, and he beats Happ on the inside corner. Let's take a look at the Cubs batting order this evening, presented by Southwest Airlines, written out earlier by Joe Madden. Chris Bryant, the reigning MVP, he'll bat second, as he customarily does. Then Anthony Rizzo. Ben Zobrist will bat fourth. Jason Hayward's been much better offensively this year than last year's first year on the north side. Wilson Contreras has popped. So does Javier Baez. John Lester, that's a thing you know with the Cubs, and Joe Madden. He's going to hit his pitcher 8th typically. And then Kyle Schwarber, who's the biggest, strongest 9-hole hitter in baseball history.
Schwarber was hitting leadoff when they were in Coors Field earlier this year.
He had 3 hits yesterday, Schwarber's best day offensively of the year. That's a good pitch on Bryant. It's 0-2. Chatwood in his career 2-0 in 3 starts, an .069 earned run average against the Cubs. And last year, what a gem he threw in this ballpark, Huey.
7 shutout innings, just 2 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts.
This ball's a high fastball hit to deep center field, and it is gone. got ahead of Brian 0-2. He tried to get him to chase up, and instead Brian hit it out. His 14th home run of the year. The Cubs lead 1-0.
We're going to freeze this pitch on contact and show it where it was, out of the hand of the Subaru Supermo. Just a four-seamer. Look at this, right across the belt area for Chris Bryant. Doesn't even have to come out of the crouch. And that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to get it up by the letters, because you want to try to make him come out. He likes to stay bent in those knees, but when you don't get it that low, that's how far he hits it.
I give him credit because I didn't think it's that bad a pitch. I mean, it definitely was elevated. And, you know, perfect world, you say, well, he should have elevated a little bit more. Bryant's pretty good.
He's real good. He's a good hitter, a good player, obviously.
Well, they hit a lot of home runs. They don't hit for average. At least they haven't this year. They struggled out of the gate hitting home runs at home, which is not unusual because the weather's different in April and May here. And then the last 16, they've hit a bunch of home runs in this ballpark. Another guy capable of doing that at the plate. 2-1 on Anthony Rizzo.
We talk about the weather at Wrigley Field. Is the wind blowing in? Is the wind blowing out? What type? But early on this year, they had a lot of bad weather, just cold, miserable, rainy type of weather that they had to play through.
It's kind of a misnomer. You've talked about it before. You're a former Cub, George Frazier. George was a former Cub. That it's always a hitter's ballpark. It is for about 3.5, 4 months in the summer. It's not on the shoulders of the season. And Rizzo, for just the third time in the last 73 plate appearances, strikes out. Chatwood's got a couple of those. And that'll bring up Ben Zobrist. Here's the Rockies defensively. DJ, the former Cub, I don't think he gets his due nationally for how brilliant a defender he is. Desmond Blackman in Cargo. Arenado Story. DJ, who's won a Gold Glove in the past, ought to be in the conversation every year. Mark Reynolds at first with an outstanding glove. Zobrist takes a fastball at 95 away, ball 1.
Ben's been struggling. Just snapped an 0 for 20 with the base hit the other day. He's still in a 1 for 17.
On the inside corner for a strike, 1-1. Well, if you look at the Cubs offensive numbers individually, everybody with the exception of Jason Hayward for the most part is below what they did in 2016.
They are hitting .235 as a club. It's 13th in the National League, 27th in all of baseball.
There's no panic, there never is with Joe Madden, but they have been aided, shall we say, with this somewhat slow start by the fact that nobody's run away with it in the NL Central. You know, if the Rockies were in the NL Central, they'd have a pretty decent lead on the rest of the field.
Probably, just looking at the record of the Brewers, what would that be? They'd be 6 games up? 6 games up on them.
3-1, and it's roller right out in front of the plate. Tony jumps on it. In the inning, Chris Bryant, a solo home run to dead center, so the Cubs up 1-0. Sports is brought to you by the 2017 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. And by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And that's the late Harry Carey. There are plenty of sculptures around Wrigley Field. Mr. Cub outside the ballpark as well. Ian Desmond has always performed well against John Lester, 4 for 7. Here's the 0-1, and it's a cutter off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Desmond, Story, and Walters in the second. Rockies wasted a good opportunity in the first to score when Charlie led off with a double. A couple of ground outs, a walk to Reynolds, and then on a 3-2 pitch, Cargo struck out. Charlie made an interesting comment. This will give you a little insight as to what Charlie Blackmon's all about and the standard he sets. The Rockies scored 19 runs over the last 2 games, beating up Cleveland 19-4 total runs. That's inside. And Charlie said, yeah, you know, happy we won. He said, but to be honest with you, I don't feel like we executed very well offensively.
A couple times they had bases loaded. When it scored 1 run, second and third, nobody out. I mean, you had a chance to put up some big numbers against Cleveland. 4, 5, 6 runs in an inning, and they come right away with just a couple.
Desmond gone. And again, that Charlie's most folks aren't saying that after an 8-1 victory.
No. Yesterday was methodical, though, the way they took down the Indians. I mean, it was just 2 here, 1 there, 2. They were just boom, boom, boom.
And I guarantee not just Charlie, because, you know, Charlie threw out the double, but the rest of that group who followed him, DJ upset that you know, he wasn't able to move him along. And, you know, Nolan was in an offensive count. I believe it was a 3-1 pitch. You want to take advantage against a team that can pitch. With a leadoff double. Story takes a strike. 8 home runs, 22 driven in for Story. He's hitting all 6 games in the month of June. 8 of his last 9, a .324 average during that span.
And Corey Sullivan and I were talking about Trevor yesterday, and just looking at his body of work really over the last month since May 5th, hitting over .310, but everything about his at-bats now. It's not to say he's not going to strike out, but his at-bats are so much quieter. As a hitter, the game's not speeding up on you like it was early in the season.
Huey, I think that DL stint gave him a restart.
Oh, indeed it did. Like that pitch right there, that's indicative of taking that pitch. Close on the Subaru strike zone, up a little bit, but it's like he saw it immediately out of the hand.
Contreras wants fastball away. And he went. 3 strikeouts in a row for Lester. And that'll bring up Tony Walters. Fans, join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts, photos, questions, anything else you want to send us. Use Twitter or Instagram and include the hashtag Toyota Talk. Four games set here at Wrigley.
I know tomorrow's game and Saturday's game are already sold out.
Well, you just assume now that every game will be sold out. They fit a few more people in here now because they took away the bullpens. We haven't talked about that. They've added some seats down the first and third base lines. And you say, well, where are the bullpens now? There aren't anybody. What they do is they go out on a Waveland or Sheffield Avenue and they throw in the street just like, you know, you would do in tennis shoes, and then they, you know, throw spikes on when they come in. I think listen, it's a throwback stadium. Why not have throwback warm-ups, right?
Play catch with the neighbor. That was the weirdest thing. One of the weird things I saw or noticed today when I walked into this ballpark. I look down the lines and then you start to look at the ivy that's growing in. I think, where's the bullpens? Oh yeah, they took them out.
Well, we're fabricating the story a little bit, just a little bit. You could go out in the street. Somebody would throw. How many kids would put their hand up? Say, I'll catch you. 3-1. This is where the bullpens are now. There you go. See where it says Under Armour? On both sides, right center, left center. Left center is the Cubs bullpen. Right center is the Rockies bullpen. This is the indoor look. It's the only stadium now where the players really can't see. The bullpen members can't see the game unless they watch it on a monitor. And there's plenty of monitors in there so they can watch it.
And the interesting thing, that's where the tunnels to hit were. They were out underneath the outfield bleachers.
Tony hits a slow roller. Bryant on the move's not going to be able to get him. And the Rockies have a base runner with 2 outs in the second. And most importantly, they're going to flip the lineup over here in the second.
Tony's getting runs against lefties. Well, this is just a swinging bunt. Nothing really that John Lester can do. Tony gets out there. The Subaru Supermo with the bare hand. Well, gets it off for Bryant, but
he's hitting 318 against lefties.
But my point is, I go back to those at-bats he had against Paxton in Seattle. Those were as good as you're going to have, and probably as good as the Rockies had that day against him.
I don't think there's any question. He was the most comfortable against James Paxton. Chatty fouls that off. Here's the 0-1 to Chatwood. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rockies are 15 games above 500 for the first time since late in September of 2010.
You kind of forget about that year because, 07 the World Series, 09 you made the play. 2010, that ball club up into the last 2 weeks.
They did the opposite of what happened basically in 2007, where the Rockies won 14 of their final 15, and then the great run, at least to the World Series, 21 out of 22. But the Rockies lost 13 of their final 14 in 2010. They were going to be a 90-win team, it looked like. This ball's lined to left, a base hit. And now with 2 outs, the Rockies have 2 on for Charlie Blackmon, which is always a good thing.
Well, Chatty in his last start was 2 for 4 with a double and a single, and now on the Subaru Supermo opens the hips on a cut fastball, starts off this ball game with a hit, and he's above 200 for the year. 227 for Tyler.
We talk frequently about it, that all of the Rockies pitchers are going to give you a competitive at bat.
Cincinnati the other day with the double, 3 RBI.
How big was that?
That was huge.
Charlie doubled over the head of Kyle Schwarber and off the base of the ivy, leading off the ball game. That worked well here.
Back in the first inning for Charlie. Finally gets an opposite field hit over the left fielder's head. Schwarber, all he can do is watch it go off the wall and throw it back in. And unfortunately, that's where he moved up to third, but that's where he was left at the end of that inning. Charlie, 448 average with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
And the Rockies with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, #1 in baseball at 324. And Lester gets ahead 0-2. Rockies have Charlie Blackmon and Mark Reynolds leading the National League. 448, as you mentioned, and 444. Who's that guy? Gennad? Who's this guy?
The only Cincinnati Red to hit 4 home runs in a ball game.
One of 17 all time. That's happened fewer times in perfect games. 0-2. And Charlie lobs this one to shallow left. It's going to drop. It's going to score a run. And going to third is Chatwood. And to second is Blackmon. No apologies for that. They call that the excuse me double. He doesn't have to apologize. It's a 1-1 ball game. Baez couldn't get to the baseball.
Those are for all the times that you line out, for all the times that somebody makes a diving play on you. Javi Baez playing just a skosh up the middle. He lays out for it, doesn't come up.
And thankfully, they're 2 outs.
Yeah, because
Walters can't score on that. Otherwise,
No.
you got to hang.
He's got to stay, but you also have Tyler move up to third, Charlie to second. That's 29 multi-hit games for Charlie. 29.
Number 1 in baseball, and he also has 50 RBIs in game number 62.
Love those 2-out ribbies.
Demoralizes the opposition. Rockies had 2 strikeouts to begin the inning. Then the infield hit by Walters. Chatwood the base hit. And that's outside on DJ. DJ hit a hard comebacker last inning. Watch that pitch count. Lester already at 46.
They threw 24 in the first.
LeMahieu in his career a .313 hitter against the Cubs. .292 here at Wrigley Field. Two and one. Charlie with the 2 doubles. Interestingly, he came into this ball game hitting below 200 at Wrigley.
I think sometimes when the first few times you come in here, you see the wall where it is, the gaps.
This ball's pretty well hit to right. This is way back, and this one is gone. 3-run home run, DJ LeMahieu, and the Rockies lead it 4-1. How good that must feel for LeMahieu against his former club. That's his first Wrigley Field home run in a Rockies uniform.
Revenge ABs, how sweet they are.
And you know what? He just gave high fives. And he almost took some arms off at home plate. Did you see that?
There was some anger not only against the Cubs for what they did to him on the Subaru Supermo, but also some of the swings he had in the Cleveland series. You know, I know he'd like to have some of those back, but this was a swing that's going to produce his 3rd home run, his 27th ribby, and here it is. Giving the high fives, just 1 for 10 in that Cleveland series.
You know, it's interesting. I thought he hit it pretty well. Then you and I were watching Jason Hayward. He just turned around and watched it go out. Again, all of this with 2 outs.
And for John Lester, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, he had only allowed 2 hits this entire year. 2 for 25 against them. And now here in this ball game, he's allowed 2.
Well, people are finding out this Rocky club is completely legit. And that's going to be a base hit to right center field, a 2-strike knock. 5 straight hits after Lester struck out Desmond and Story pretty quickly.
Remember, it's kind of started with the Tony Walter swinging hit towards third base.
Fans, when the Rockies score 7 or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations. Do it the next day between 4 and 6 to receive your Rockies taco special. We've been able to do that the last couple of days. A 4-run second, and the Rockies are not done. Reynolds walked his first time up. 8th man to come up here in the 2nd inning. Rockies have 134 2-out runs this year. The only team in baseball with more. The Houston Astros. And this ball's pretty well hit to right. It is playable though for Hayward. That'll end the inning. DJ LeMahieu, the former Cub, goes oppo. His 3rd jack of the year. Rockies up 4-1.
1 because DJ LeMahieu, the former Cub, hits a 3-run homer. Last year, you know that DJ was the NL batting champ. He hit .348. He had 192 hits. There was one ballpark where he did not have a hit last year, and it was here at Wrigley. He went 0 for 9 at Wrigley Field. Played in 2 of the 3 games. That was the only park, guys, in a year when he won the batting title. Well, here he's got a 3-run homer a year later.
Hey, Mark, thank you. You know, you'll remember, Mark, that until last year at Wrigley, he killed the Cubs.
Right.
And his average still at .313 career-wise against Chicago, but I think going into last year, he was probably closer to 400.
Yeah, I talked to DJ today around the batting cage, and we were talking about playing here, and you know, he was up for a couple months, so he's probably had a month worth of games at Wrigley Field. So he knows what it's like, what this park. It wasn't unique, but it still goes back to, you drafted me, you thought you had somebody better in Barney, and now look at my career.
3-0, and that's not close. Did he go? Actually, you know what? The scoreboard was wrong, so we apologize. It's 3-1 on Jason Hayward. That's right where it needs to be. 3-2. A lot of run on that two-seam fastball at 95. That's a hard sinker.
And that's why, if you're Tony, set up in the middle of the plate, let that ball just run away from Hayward.
It did, and he had a routine play at short from Story.
That was almost on cue. He threw the exact pitch that you needed to Jason Hayward. Don't let him get his arms sitting. You have so much depth on that sinker.
But here you called it. He set up in the middle. He got the run, and he got weak contact off the end of the bat.
And I think that's the thing sometimes with Tyler. He wants to be so fine with his pitches. But for Tony set up right down the middle like he did, that ball moved 6-7 inches.
That's a beautiful view of it.
That's
and
a great
again,
view.
It started in the middle of the plate, and by the time Hayward made contact, he was tailing off the black.
But if he sets up on the black, where does that go? It's way in the other batter's box.
Contreras backed out, and it's a strike.
I never understood that. Now, maybe he was trying to call timeout, but maybe he was just taking that first pitch. But if you're going to take a first pitch, why don't you eyeball it all the way in?
And Contreras hits it to Nolan. Nolan will throw him out. 2 gone. Well, last year, Chadwick was the best road pitcher ERA-wise in baseball, and he blew away the Cubs.
I mean, it wasn't even close for Tyler. He said, here's my stuff, see what you can do with it. And if you notice, too, it's April 17th. Guys are in short sleeves. It was a very warm day that day here. Not like you would see a lot of times in April in Wrigley where it's cold. It was a warm day, so the ball would have traveled out of here if he didn't make those pitches. But today, it is a picture perfect day.
And it's just perfect. You're right. 1-0 on Javi Baez. Cutter. 1-1. We always go over the arsenal of a pitcher at the top of the broadcast, and we'll use words like it's a plus pitch, meaning it's better than average. The thing about Tyler is he has 3 pitches that are better than average because his curveball is outstanding. His fastball, both his two-seamer and then the slider that he uses are plus pitches.
Let me give you some numbers. Sliders, guys are hitting 100. Curveball 045. Changeup 231.
Moves Baez's feet. 3-1 on Javier.
Javi still has a hole with the slider, with the balls away from him, because he's trying to pull everything.
It's fouled off. 3-2 on Baez. Baez is one of those guys difficult to walk. In 157 at bats, he has 7 walks. And 5 of those were intentional. He's up there to swing. Here's the 3-2. And he hits a fly ball to shallow center. Charlie's going to get there. Cargo defers. And it's a 1-2-3 inning, exactly what you want to have after your team put 4 on the board. At Wrigley on a beautiful evening, the Rockies up by 3. There at 7 of the last 13 games. Mentioned earlier that Addison Russell's not with the team today. Some reports came out on social media, and the original social media statements were deleted, but it came from the wife of Addison Russell that there may have been some domestic abuse. Addison Russell issued a statement today: "Any allegation I have abused my wife is false and hurtful." Cargo swings at the first pitch and fouls it off. "For the well-being of my family, I will have no further comment." And the Cubs said that they're aware of the situation and monitoring it, and they've reported whatever they knew to Major League Baseball. And again, Russell not with the club today, not in uniform. And he had been playing very poorly, so poorly that even though Joe Madden says I still believe in him and his talent, he had played Baez at shortstop more frequently of late. Russell hitting just .209, 3 home runs, 19 driven in, and his defense has not been good. Cargo, a strikeout victim for the second time against Lester. He's having trouble not only fielding but a number of throwing errors also.
Yeah, for Addison Russell, he started 141 of the 148 games last year, and Javi Baez only 21 starts all year long, already 13 this year. I'm talking to some Cubs people today. It was literally last night when they first heard about these allegations.
Here's Desmond. He had 3 hits yesterday, and he hits it to Baez. Baez throws him out, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Trevor Story. Well, they're fortunate. They have a very dynamic player in Baez who is playing second base. He slides over, and then you have the very versatile Ben Zobrist, who can play outfield or infield. So Zobrist is playing second.
Well, Baez came up as a shortstop, so it's not that unfamiliar for him to flip back over.
No arm issues, because he has an absolute cannon. Story struck out his first time. He takes ball 1. Rocky scored 4 times last inning, all with 2 outs. 5 straight hits. The big blow, a 3-run opposite field home run from DJ LeMahieu. Next pitch will be number 60 for Lester. And that is foul.
Well, for the Cubs too, unless something happened in the last 45 minutes that we didn't hear about, they're going to be a man short out in their bullpen because they have Kyle Hendricks, who was supposed to start tomorrow, is not able to go. So they are going to start Mike Montgomery, one of their left-handed relievers, to go in the game.
He's thrown more innings than anybody in their bullpen, but it's an emergency start tomorrow. Kyle Hendricks with a hand issue, tendonitis in his throwing hand.
11 starts for Hendrick, 4-3, 4.09 ERA.
Of course, he was one of the National League's best pitchers a year ago.
The guy on the hill finished second in the Cy Young voting last year.
2-2 on Story. So they're short on their bench and they're short in their pen. And the starters thrown 63 pitches so far, and there'll be a 64th here in the third inning. Major League average is around 17 pitches per inning. Pitching coaches would prefer you around 15 or so when you're really being efficient. So at 21 per inning, that is high. His fourth 3-ball count already of the ball game.
He's trying to figure out what pitch they're going to throw because Contreras called for everything that he has. Fastball, cut fastball, changeup, slider.
Chris Bosio looking on.
Bosio with a no-hitter in his Major League career.
You played with Bosio, didn't you?
No, played against him.
You played against Chris? Okay.
Hit a home run. What?
That's why I remember him so fondly for you.
Did you see how I snuck that in there?
I know, I didn't notice at all. I mean, who didn't you hit a home run off of?
I had Milwaukee, too, County Stadium.
Hit it out of the stadium, as I recall, didn't you?
Went over the fence, that's all I know.
This is the 10th pitch of the at-bat. 2 outs, nobody on, 4-1 Colorado. And Story with a foul tip. There'll be an 11th pitch.
It's everywhere in the Subaru strike zone. A lot of pitches. Out, up, in, down.
Lester gets the strikeout. It turns into a 1-2-3 inning. His 5th strikeout. But the Rockies lead at 4-1. Middle of 3 at Wrigley. Jeff Houston and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. We've told this story before. Buddy Black is very close with Joe Madden because they were together with the Angels for a number of years. And you have ties to Joe Madden, Huey. These are two classy guys, two great friends, two very bright baseball minds, and two guys that enjoy eclectic interests beyond baseball.
And I think that's why they're very similar. That's why they've had success, because they're guys that you want to play for. If you don't play well, you're disappointed because you feel like you disappointed them. And for me, playing for Joe over there was a lot of fun. And I see Bud Black, the way he interacts with his players, the way he talks to them, the way he cares about them. The same type of feeling that you get with Buddy as you had with Joe. What a staff they had over there, though.
They had a great staff.
Because you're talking about Joe Madden, you're talking about Bud Black, Ron Renicky, who managed for a while with the Brewers, was on that staff.
And another really good man.
Yeah.
1-2 on John Lester, and the curveball is downstairs. 2-2. Last few days, kind of old home week for Buddy Black. Close with Tito Francona. They played together in Cleveland. Spent a lot of time together. Here's the 2-2, and that is bounced to short. Story takes his time. Lester also taking his time up the line, as he should. 1 out.
MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for more details.
Well, the guy coming up is crowd favorite here in Chicago, and well, he should be. He's immensely talented. Everybody likes the Paul Bunyan type, and Kyle Schwarber's Paul Bunyan. He also happens to be disarmingly nice. He's just a really good kid, the former Indiana Hoosier. He takes ball 1, and yesterday had his best game of the year. He had a home run and a couple of doubles yesterday, his first 3-hit game. And you made mention of this. He was dropped to 9th in the lineup after initially hitting leadoff, and even after the nice day yesterday, he's hitting just 175. We chatted with him a little bit today. He said, finally.
Yeah, finally. Exactly right. Kyle Schwarber. But think about what he has gone through. You're playing in this market. You missed so much time last year with the ACL. You come back for the playoffs and the World Series. You have a great play. You know, you do unbelievable things. People didn't even think you'd be back.
Yeah, nobody thought he was going to play again that year.
So everybody automatically anointed him this king, this guy that was going to put the Cubs on their back again and carry him to the promised land this year. That's unfair expectations.
3-1, and behind that post is John Maley, the hitting coach. Eric Hinsky's his assistant, and that's a walk for Schwarber, first allowed by Tyler Chatwood. One of the things they've done with Schwarber is shorten his stride. It felt like he was overstriding, getting off balance on his swings, quieting him down at the plate. So he's at first with 1 out. And another really talented young hitter, Ian Happ, is up. Switch hitter, powerfully built center fielder, big star at the University of Cincinnati. Happ and Schwarber have known about each other for a long time. Happ's from Pittsburgh. Schwarber's from just north of Cincinnati, Middletown, Ohio. And now, after 2 straight misses and the walk, Walters is going to walk out to the mound.
Like that from Tony. Just slow the machine down for a moment. Hit the pause button. Then the last thing he did was kind of patted him on the backside, said, okay, let's go. Let's get it locked back in again. That's the last thing you want to do, put this guy on with Chris Bryant standing on the on-deck circle.
Well, that's inside. Now it's 3-0. And you know how gifted this lineup is for Chicago. It's a quick strike offense. There's power up and down the lineup. Wow, that's interesting for me. After walking a 3-0 count.
If you're going to turn a rookie loose on a 3-0.
Looks like he may have gotten squeezed on one of the pitches. Subaru strike zone has it at 2-2.
Well, Jerry Lane said that pitch was in the third pitch. It wasn't. Good
This
job.
should be 2. There's 1, and there is 2. Well done. End of inning. Beautiful thing about Tyler Chatwood, he has the ability to get a ground ball. Rockies up 4-1, heading to the 4th.
If Corey ate the taco, because I know he loves tacos. I knew you would. I knew it.
Told the guy thanks.
I knew he would eat it.
Threw him $5 as a tip. 0-1 on Walters, now 0-2 on Tony. He had the infield hit to start that 4-run rally in the second. Chatwood followed it up with a 2-out single. And then Blackman had a bloop double down the left field line. And then DJ hit one out to right, a 3-run homer. Walters, Chatwood, and Blackman. Rockies have won 4 in a row. It's the 3rd time this year they've had a 4-game winning streak. What's interesting for a club that's 38-23, second best mark in the National League, they don't have any really extensive winning streak. In fact, they have not won 5 straight yet this year. Center field, Ian Happ will make the play.
But all they've done is win series. And out on the road, they're winning series. They win the first game of the series to set the tone. There's so many things that this club does just to keep building, just to keep adding, just like the inchworm, just keep going and going and going.
They're really good. They're really steady. They play the game the right way. They're a low drama team. And I mean that positively and negatively. And there hasn't been drama on the negative side at all. And even on the positive side, there has been no walk-off wins yet at Coors Field. No down by 4 runs in the 8th and you come back and score 5 in the last 2 frames kind of thing. But none of that. And hopefully they'll have some of that. Hopefully they never get behind by that much. But you know what I mean? It's just playing really good baseball day in and day out in all 3 facets.
And everybody we talk to scouts, we talk to our brethren, the other broadcasters, they say, what makes you go? They're steady. They don't beat themselves. They do the little things and whatever it takes that night to win the game.
2-0, and that is gloved by Lester. Another hard hit ball by Tyler Chatwood. Out number 2, and that'll bring up Blackman. Here's our CenturyLink High-Speed Challenge question. You know the drill. Go to @RootSports_RM to cast your vote. During the Twitter postgame show, we will give you the results. Do you prefer deep dish, which is the preferred way to have pizza in Chicago, or thin crust, which was the preferred way from where I'm originally from, New York? That looks really, really good. That looks like a Paisano pizza. Yeah. Paisano, one of our favorite places to go.
I like Pizzerino Uno too here. I like that.
Right around the corner from the hotel.
Yeah. So I would, if I was voting, I would say A and B, because when I'm not in Chicago, it's B with the thin crust, but when I'm in Chicago, it's the thick crust. So I'd have to vote twice.
It's a good food town. Charlie takes another strike. It's 0-2. Lester closing in on 80 pitches with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Charlie, not only with that 2-out bloop double to score a run, his 50th RBI of the year, but he was behind in the count. In fact, in all 3 of his at-bats, he's been behind 0-2. Now it's 1-2. They'll go out. He just showed you Buddy Black. You know what's interesting? Buddy loves to throw BP still, and he'll throw out on the field, but the one guy on the Rockies team that he has to throw to every day is Charlie Blackmon. Charlie insists that Buddy throw to him, and then he'll throw normal BP, and then every day he'll ask Buddy to mix it up, and Buddy will throw him sliders, change-ups. That's foul.
And for Charlie, it works out very nicely because all the BP throwers that he has thrown to him are right-handed guys. Okay, so when every day I want to see some lefties, so I'm not surprised when the John Lesters or that late inning reliever comes after me because I've seen it. I've seen some left-handed arm action.
And Charlie back even in the count, 2-2. And he has his skipper throw to him every day, no matter whether or not they're facing a lefty. It's working out pretty well.
Staying down on the Subaru strike zone to Charlie. They don't want to pitch up.
Pitch up. You can see him trotting around the bases. 13 big flies this year for Blackmon.
When he had to pitch up, he hit the left field in his first at bat.
Another 3-2 and another foul ball.
Game was they all start to run together a little bit. He did this the other day though. He fouled off a bunch of pitches. I think it was against Seattle.
You are very familiar with the phrase not giving away an at bat. It's not like you literally go up there and you don't have any focus, but it just seems like his focus is off the charts every at bat. And this ball toward the hole, and it's cut off there by Zobrist. He makes a nice play, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. So Lester has quietly retired 7 in a row, but his pitch count well above 80, and the Rockies are up 4-1.
Tyler Chatwood has 47 pitches on the hill. Drew and Jeff are talking about the outing he had last year here on a Sunday afternoon, April the 17th, when he threw 100 pitches, allowed only 2 hits. One was a double to John Lester. And I asked Steve Foster today if that was kind of like a benchmark game for Chatty last season.
You saw what they did the year before. You knew the lineup they had. You knew the pitching staff they had. You knew they were going to be good. And here at Wrigley Field, it's an electric environment, so it was a big day for Tyler Chatwood. And he's a guy that generally pitches good on the big stage, so we look forward to that tonight.
Drew and Jeff, he's pitching against John Lester again, who actually doubled in that game. And so far, so good for Chatty.
Chatty looks really on, Mark, and that's what we saw in San Diego in his last outing. Just 1 walk so far. The only hit, the guy at the plate, Chris Bryant, a home run on an 0-2 pitch over the center field wall. That pitch inside, 1-2 on Bryant. See if he goes to the curveball. You know, it's been mostly,
I was saying a curveball or slider here.
You know, he hasn't really landed many curveballs in this game. His fastball's been dominant, though. That was a slider. That or a cutter at 92.
Oh, it's hard to tell. If that hard had to have been a cutter. Because his slider is more in the, let's say, 87 to 89 range.
When John Gray comes back, he'll throw sliders 91, 92. 2-2 on Bryant. Bryant out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Curveball slowly hit. Nolan with his bare hand, cut it out. Who does that?
Nolan.
Who does that?
I'm telling you, he's the only one.
Just showing off again.
He's showing off.
Bryant's looking back in his direction, saying, "Really?
Come on." Yeah, Nolan's the only guy that will think about barehanding this when he ranges that far to his left.
Nobody, Huey, who does that? He had to, his gloves on that side. He ran past it, grabbed it with his bare hand.
Only he could do that. On the Subaru Supermo, he catches it on the last 2 fingers. He doesn't catch it in the palm and then has to readjust.
I've never seen a guy do that before.
Me neither. That's a first. And we're going to freeze this on the Subaru Supermo just to see where he catches this in his hand. Okay, right there. He has it in his pinky, in his ring finger.
What's wrong with the leather? 2 strikes on Rizzo.
His hand is as soft as leather, so he doesn't need to use it. But honestly, Drew, in my 32 years of pro ball, I've never seen a guy go that far to his left and barehand a bouncing ball. I haven't seen it ever.
Till tonight. Rizzo, a line drive base hit on an 0-2 pitch. So both hits for the Cubs. The home run and that Rizzo single on 0-2 pitches from Chatwood. 1 out, 1 on, and Ben Zobrist will come up. He had a little roller out in front of the plate. I am still aghast at that play. And it sounds silly. You all at home watch like we do, and sometimes you say, okay, well, that's routine, which would be not routine for anybody else who plays the position, and then he'll throw out something that you've never seen before.
But it also tells you how great he is, because sometimes when he makes plays, we say, oh yeah, that was a good play, where everybody else we say, that's a great play, look at that guy. Nolan, though, when he makes something like that, that tells you how extraordinary he is as a fielder.
Best we've ever seen. I'm speaking for you again.
Yes, thank you. Because it's true.
That's a good block by Tony. That's how good Chatwood's moving fastball is, darting fastball. He hasn't commanded the curveball tonight, which he had in San Diego. And yet, he's up 4-1, 1 out in the 4th, and once again has allowed only 2 hits.
And he has 7 ground ball outs.
He's got to have more than that. There's 1, and BJ on to first. first, safe. Zobrist beat it. Brian Jones quickly rewinding underneath the stadium to see.
Look at second base and see Rizzo where he was on the slide, because he doesn't slide right at the bag. I know he can catch the bag, but watch where he slides. I think DJ was out of there so soon that it didn't matter, because he was coming across the bag. But Rizzo thought, oh well, I can't go get it. Close at first on the Subaru Supermo.
But he just twirled his finger toward Jerry Lane as if to, not that finger, Huey, as if to say, we can play on.
Okay,
yes,
got it. So
but he would never do that.
No.
1-0 on Jason Hayward. Hayward lines this to left, and it is foul. Nobody's told anybody else on the Cubs that it's foul.
Ben can keep going. He can just keep trotting back to,
look,
first base.
Hayward's going to run all the way around the bases. I've never seen this before, and pick up his bat and resume his AB. It's foul.
It's foul, and with no bullpens anymore, you don't have people scattering down there.
You ever seen that? Hayward ran all the way around the bases, and he knew it once he got the second that it was foul. And he just said, well, you know what? I got to run back there anyhow. I'm not going to cut across. So he ran and ran, touched third, ran home, picked up his bat.
And they're showing it even here on the big board at the stadium where that ball hit. You don't get any bonus points or style points for going to hit third. You could have crossed over right by the mound.
The home run trot that didn't count. 1-1 inside on Hayward. 2-1. That was the other thing. Cargo's Titanic foul ball yesterday.
Yeah.
He's so good-natured afterward. He said, "Man, yeah." He said, "You'd have thought at least they could give me a double for that."
I think maybe even take a single just so you got a hit. You hit it that far, you should get something out of it.
Some kind of reward.
That fan up on the up at the party deck, he got a souvenir. He didn't think he was going to get one.
Most famous foul ball in Colorado Rockies history. 2 outs. Zobrist at first, 2-1 on Jason Hayward. Been swinging the bat much better this year than a year ago. I give him a lot of credit, Huey. I was surprised when the story came out in Game 7 during that brief rain delay that the guy that got them together in the weight room now famously and spoke to the team as a leader was Jason Hayward. Not that you don't expect him to be a leader, but as tough a year as he had offensively, you thought it would have come from maybe some other corner and he wouldn't feel comfortable doing that.
Maybe a Chris Bryant, maybe an Anthony Rizzo, maybe those guys.
David Ross,
Gramps. But no, it came from him, and
tells you a lot about him, doesn't it?
Well, it does, because when you're not hitting, you're a part of the team, but you don't feel like you're complete part of the team.
Yeah, especially first year.
Yeah, big contract, but he did it. A lot of people saying that's why they came back and won, because of his speech.
Hayward grounds out. Chatwood safely navigates the 4th inning. 4-1 Colorado. LeMahieu will lead it off. inning. They scored 4 times with 2 outs, lead 4-1 as they come up in the top of the 5th, and our Mako big hit provided by the Rockies' second baseman. DJ LeMahieu against Lester took a fastball away and hit it out with 2 men aboard. 3-run home run. RBIs 25, 26, and 27. Mako big hit, DJ LeMahieu. So 3rd time through now for the Rockies. LeMahieu, Arenado, Reynolds against Lester. And depending how this inning goes, it could be 5 and fly for Lester. He's in the mid-80s in terms of pitches thrown.
Most he's thrown this year is 120 pitches against the Yankees. But great shot of the moon tonight. Clouds over the top.
This ball's well hit right field, and Hayward makes the catch. Boy, for a moment I thought he had trouble with the baseball and the lights. So a line out by LeMahieu, and that'll bring up Nolan, who had a single to right his last at bat. He's 1 for 2.
The problem now, though, for us up here in the broadcast booth, with the bullpens being moved, we can't see if anybody's up. So we could say those guys could be eating snacks out there and we couldn't see. We used to be able to just look down the right field and left field line.
It is bizarre, isn't it?
So look it, I can't see anything out there. See them? No, because they're underneath.
No idea, right?
Yeah.
How about the bounce back game yesterday for Nolan? He had the golden sombrero on Tuesday for just the 2nd time in his career. Struck out 4 times. Came back yesterday with 3 hits, including 2 doubles. Drove in 3. You know what Buddy would say?
That's baseball.
Buddy Black would say that's baseball.
Well, it's like the guy on deck, and Mark Reynolds, when he did the interview after hitting 2 home runs with Mark Stout, when he said, well, I didn't want to have another strikeout on my t-shirt giveaway night because he'd already had 2. I had to do something.
2 and 2 on Arenado. Rockies 6 and 3 against the Cubs since the start of 2016. 8 and 7 over their last 15 against Chicago. And this is to short. Baez. He's smooth. No question about that. That's 9 straight retired by John Lester.
The first 10,000 through the gates on Saturday, June 17th, will receive a Colorado Rockies plastic ball and bat set, courtesy of MLB Play Ball Weekend.
Mark Reynolds a walk and a fly ball to right. 3 out of 6 in the Cleveland series, including 3 walks.
The Rockies had 14 walks in that Cleveland series. They outwalked Cleveland 14-2.
Think about that. That means you're pitching really well, forcing the other team to swing the bats. And you're having good ABs, forcing the other team to throw the ball in the zone.
That's why Terry Francona ran through his bullpen yesterday. Holy smokes.
Terry yesterday used 7 guys out of the pen, 6 the night before. This is rolled to short. Baez has it. And that's 10 in a row set down by John Lester. Well, that's good news for Lester. The bad news is the Rockies lead at 4-1. On Root Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru a Subaru. And by the Wyoming Office of Tourism. Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why travelwyoming.com. Wilson Contreras in the 5th inning. Beautiful moon overhead. Always been fascinated, as most of us have been, by the moon. And it's been on my mind more, Huey, of late.
Why is that?
Because remember when we were flying back from, where were we last? San Diego?
Yes.
I finally watched Apollo 13.
Did you just figure out then we landed on the moon?
Well, it was Apollo 13 was planning on landing on the moon, but they couldn't. They had a problem with the spacecraft. Unfortunately, between Houston and Jim Lovell and his crew, they got back safely, thank goodness.
I was looking over your shoulder and I saw what movie you're watching. I was like, oh my goodness.
It only came out in '95. Give me time.
Well, I know. I just was wondering. See it on VHS or beta?
That was the beta tape.
Just having some fun with you. That was a very
great movie. Tavis Strand, our producer, was aghast. He couldn't believe I hadn't seen that film. Tom Hanks, good actor.
Yes, he is.
Should do more films.
He should.
Yep. 2-2 on Contreras. He bounced to third his first time, and he's gone on a cutter away. That is the 3rd strikeout. The first strikeout for Chatty since he struck out Rizzo with 1 out in the 1st inning.
Right out of the hand on the Subaru Supermo. It really yanks on that hard slider to get Contreras to chase.
Javi Baez, fly ball to center field, his first time up. And Baez line single to center field.
Miguel Montero coming out to hit.
Yep, it's 5 and fly for Lester, who is behind 4-1. So Montero on the thin bench. Again, no Addison Russell, not available tonight. And Hector Rondon is warming up. Lester Strode looking on. And we know this to be true because we're looking at it on our Snoop cam in the Cubs bullpen.
Got an exercise bike out there.
You know there's a refrigerator out there.
It has to be snacks.
Montero takes a strike.
And some other things that they had, and I know we're going to do some pieces on some of the different aspects of this ballpark now. But when they first put those in out there, they'd put walls behind the pitcher white, so the catchers couldn't see the ball coming out of the pitcher's hand. So they had to make the adjustment there.
I don't know if this is hit hard enough. Nope. 2 outs as Baez scrambles to second, and that'll bring up Schwarber. So Montero grounds out. And this is Joe Madden. He's not afraid to fire. Guy who's always been a good hitter, but his only other catcher in the middle of the game. And hopefully nothing happens to Wilson Contreras, but if something were to happen to Contreras, they don't have a backup now.
Well, and they only have 2 guys left on their bench. Addison Russell not being in uniform tonight.
Schwarber walked his first time up. Rockies do not have a shift on, but they also don't have a second baseman. Look where DJ's playing. DJ's closer to Cargo almost than he is Mark Reynolds.
There he is, way out there. Come on, he should be in this area, right? Not for DJ. But he takes ground balls out there.
You have to practice everything. We always talk about Nolan practicing the bare hands and going to his backhand and all the different throws that Nolan makes. All these guys, you have to practice it. And DJ, as you said, we've seen him take a ton of ground balls out there on the outfield grass. Schwarber floats one toward the stands, and it is into the stands, and it's 1-2. You know, I should point out the reason that Joe Madden, I almost forgot this, can fire Miguel Montero is that Kyle Schwarber was originally a catcher. He rarely goes back there, but in an emergency, he can.
He's caught 2 games this year, not complete games.
1-2, spike the curveball.
He's not somebody you want to run back there a lot right now. Just a year removed from the ACL injury. And there was even some question coming out of the draft. Could he stay behind the plate, or would he have to change positions? There was never a question about when he walks to the plate and the damage he can do to a baseball. I remember watching him in college at Indiana, and it's just on TV, you could see there was a difference between his swing and everybody else's.
Schwarber strikes out. They're going to have to get the out at first. They do so. And Tyler Chatwood is through the 5th inning on 78 pitches. The Rockies up 4-1. Everywhere in the great city of Chicago, deep dish pizza. Is that what we're doing after the game? Deep dish pizza?
I don't know about you. I am. Remember, it's a day game though tomorrow, Joe.
Day game.
Day game.
3 straight day games.
Yes.
That's a great place to watch the ball game on a beautiful night. Little bit of dust left in the city of Chicago. Cargo's going to lead it off. Always good to be in Chicago. And the Rockies and Cubs playing the first of 4. And the former closer for Chicago, Hector Rondon, will pitch the 6th inning.
Just tells you the
depth they have.
The depth they have, but also how fragile relief pitchers are, because Hector Rondon has 77 career saves in the major leagues, 15 and 13, and now he's working in the 6th inning. You know, it can come, it can go, but for those valuable guys that can do it year after year after year, what they mean to a club. Rondon, too, lately he hasn't gone well. 10 earned runs in his last 11 in the 3rd inning.
Called strike. It's 0-2 on Cargo. He struck out twice against Lester.
Rondon does have a big, big arm. So he could throw 96 to 98.
One and 2. Desmond on deck. Two and two. The Rockies got 4 runs in the second inning. All 6 of their hits came in the first 2 innings. And then Lester retired 10 in a row. But he's now out of there. 3 and 2. Diamondbacks won earlier today. They beat up the Padres in Phoenix 15-3.
The RBIs that Jake Lamb have today.
This is bounced toward the middle of the diamond, and getting over there is Bryant, and he will throw out Cargo.
Jake Lamb came in with 52 RBIs.
I'm searching for you.
Okay.
Jake Lamb today did not drive anybody in. He was 0 for 4. But
he did the damage.
Chris Iannetta, ever since Chris had that scary moment when he got hit in the face, he's gone off. Chris was 3 for 5 with 7 ribbies. Ooh. He hit his 8th home run. Desmond 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground ball to short. Desmond's behind 0 and 2.
2 hard sliders from Rondon. Because he just didn't pick up the spin.
You know, had a good day today at Albuquerque.
Who's that?
Tommy Murphy, home run to double. He continues his rehab assignment. Desmond on 3 pitches is gone. I'm going to bring up Trevor Story.
It's about the 4th or 5th game for Tom down there in Albuquerque now.
Working himself back into shape. It's really spring training all over again as long as he was out. We get a lot of David Dahl questions on social media. David is back down in Arizona. And not swinging a bat again, unfortunately. He's had a reoccurrence of that rib issue. We're just going to have to quiet that thing down and get him more rest, and hopefully we'll see David in the second half. Two strikes on Story.
With David, it's, I mean, just looking at the numbers where he's at, it's June 8th right now. I mean, realistically, you're thinking earliest the end of July.
But you can't even put a timetable on it, because until you resume baseball activities and then, you know, start to literally get in some sort of game action, of which the same thing with Tom Murphy, he didn't have a spring training to speak of. But until you get to that point, you can't put a date on it.
And the difference with Tom is, you know, with his arm healing, now he's got a chance, but you've already shut David down, or I should say shut him down, but you backed off him twice now.
Outside, 2 and 2. John Gray is going to throw another sim game, I believe, tomorrow. John feels great. Good news on the injury front. Gerardo Parra, it's going to be a while with that quad.
Gerardo on the trip though, saw him in uniform today during batting practice.
Chad Bettis working out every day. Chad back with the club. Such a wonderful story. As this Story takes a walk, gets prepared for another pitch. 2 and 2. Rocky's last base runner was Nolan Single in the second, right after DJ had hit the 3-run home run. There's Chad. And Rondon strikes out Story. So we'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Tyler Chatwood has tamed the Cubs. It's 4-1 Rockies.
So you know Nolan's at third, Chris Bryant due up second. It's our obligatory comparison of the 2 third basemen in the National League. Coors Light cold hard facts. This season, Nolan leads in batting average. OPS, Bryant has him after the home run tonight that tied them at 14. RBIs, Nolan's got the edge. And defensively, I always think Nolan has the edge. No errors this year, and Bryant has 6. Tonight, guys, a fan asked me if Troy Tulowitzki was still in the Rockies. I said no, and he goes, I don't know any Rockies. And I said, come on, you don't know Nolan Arenado as Chatty gets another out from Happ. And he looked at me, I said, you don't know the best player in the game? I was disappointed. I lectured him.
Well, Mark, good for you.
Thanks.
Bad for the fan for not knowing more players. He just bought all his Cubs gear, too, on the way to the ballpark. So here's the deal.
He traded in his Cleveland jersey after the...
Yeah.
Okay.
He still thinks Jordan's playing hoop down the street. What? Not? Here is Bryant, and there's no question. This guy is uber talented. Rookie of the Year 2 years ago, MVP last year. Who else has done that? Well, very close friend, former teammate of my partner Jeff Houston's Cal Ripken did it. Ryan Howard did it. And the former Arizona State star Dustin Pedroia. There's a good pitch. 1-1. I mean, look at this group. Rookie of the Year 1 year, the next year you're the MVP.
So you're saying there wasn't a sophomore slump?
There was no sophomore slump for Ripken, Howard, Pedroia, or Bryant. Here's the 1-1 on Chris Bryant. Sliders off the plate. 2-1. Bryant fouls this off. Bryant hit a home run in the first inning on an 0-2 fastball that was up around the letters. Hit it out to center field.
Kind of lost track of, because I was trying to count jerseys as I was walking down the street today around the stadium, and I lost track of who was winning between Bryant and Rizzo jerseys who I saw.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to see who the winner was, but it was neck and neck between those two.
Trying to go upstairs again on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, 1, 2, 3. Bryant's win at 4. I don't know what this young lady has.
Well,
we'll assume it's everybody else got a Bryant there.
Yeah, that one right there. Excuse me, but that one was from the World Series, the gold-colored one.
He got this fastball up, and it's easy fly ball for Cargo.
Looking for an upscale pregame picnic option? Ask about the club level party pack. For only $80 per person, you receive a ballpark buffet, a club level ticket, and an area to mix and mingle before the ball game. Call 303 Rockies for more information.
Is he wearing a Nolan jersey?
That's Trevor.
You see the 7?
Yep.
Okay. There are Rockies fans here, folks. It's a sellout crowd, 39,385. And that pitch just misses to Rizzo. Further evidence that the Rockies are representing. Rizzo a base hit his last time up. 2-0. Three hits for the Cubs through 5 2/3 against Tyler Chatwood. Good pitch. Wow.
Come on, Jerry, where's that one? It's not down. Maybe.
Okay, well, the other one's in the strike zone.
Subaru Supermo. This one was called low.
Perfectly received by Tony. 3-0.
Usually is.
And Rizzo walks. Just the second walk allowed by Tyler Chatwood, and that'll bring up Zobrist. Zobrist is grounded out twice. At a DBU, Dallas Baptist. Really good baseball program at Dallas Baptist. And Tony's going to go out. Fastball misses. I see Rockies purple on television tonight. I thought my wife and I were the only foolish people who wear Rockies gear to a Cubs game.
No. Cubs fans are not going to get on you too bad.
Depends where you sit, Huey.
Well, I guess you're right. Maybe on the bleachers it would be a different story. If they're throwing tacos at Corey Sullivan when he's in the outfield, I guess it's not a good place.
Corey was thrilled by that.
He loves his tacos.
He got to eat in the middle of the game.
He loves his tacos. Not going to lie. Been around him a lot. He'll crush him.
As if that's the only type of food you could have
He's
thrown
on
to
a
Corey.
health kick right now.
He is?
Yeah. He gets hangry occasionally, though.
Ground ball past the diving Nolan Arenado for a base hit. And for the first time tonight, there are 2 on for the Cubs. Jason Hayward coming up.
He just sneaks this one past the diving Nolan Arenado. Zobrist came into the game hitting .228, 1 for 17 on the homestand, 1 for 19 prior to that base hit.
Pedro Strop, the former Rocky, is up in the bullpen for Chicago, we've been told.
Allegedly. Okay. There's the proof that we wanted.
Steve Foster goes out and now departs. A couple times today in a very dignified manner. Diplomatic manner, yeah. Chatwood has asked Jerry Lane about a couple of pitches that he felt were strikes, and if you do it properly, which Tyler is doing, you can get your point across.
For Jerry,
these are not, listen, we've seen Chatty where he has wild misses.
Yes.
And today the 2 walks, but they're not wild misses. But now you got to bear down. Tying run at the plate and Hayward. And that was not a near miss. That was way up and away. 1-0.
That was a rare overthrow tonight where he just reared back, tried to throw it too hard. Mechanics went haywire, and he left the ball up.
It's 2-0. And the Rockies have got Scott Oberg up. Used to be able to look down the line here, Huey, as you well know, and the pitching coach just waved the cap saying, yep, he's ready.
Now you need a phone. You need.
It's a long distance call.
Get the operator on the line.
Popped up, and unless the wind blows considerably, Nolan's not going to have a play. 2-1.
I think here too, more than any other ballpark, except for maybe Fenway down the left field line and right by third base, there's as little foul territory here as there is anywhere else in baseball. Yeah, especially taking those bullpens out, putting some seats in, moving the wall closer.
Well, if we were in Oakland right now, it'd be inning over.
Oh yeah, because there's still another 100 feet for him to go catch that ball.
Where Dodger Stadium used to be, that was probably an out.
Yes. Before they put those seats down by the dugout, brought it closer to the field.
3-1 on Hayward. First real stressful pitches of the evening for Chatwood. He's at 97.
And if you remember, when he got Hayward to ground out back in the second, he was behind on the count 3-1. He threw him 2 fastballs running away, tailing away at 95. So he just set up and let the movement of the ball take over.
Ground ball to second. Just like you said earlier, on his 98th pitch, he gets the biggest out of the evening. He gets Hayward with 2 aboard. 4-1 going to the 7th. Colorado. All happy for Chris Ionetta, especially what Chris recently went through with that beanie. Not intentional, but getting hit in the face. Tyler Chatwood visiting with Buddy Black. He just got handshakes and hugs in the dugout, so his evening is done. Terrific 6 innings. 1-run baseball. And now see if the Rockies get that offense, Huey, cranked up again. They have not seen a base since Nolan singled in the second. Hector Rondon with his 2nd inning of work. And again, John Lester retired the final 10 after giving up 4 in the second.
And really the only ball that was hit hard was DJ's line out to right field in the 5th inning. 4 strikeouts since then. From Tyler Chatwood tonight. 98 pitches, 55 for strikes. Continue his dominance over the Cubs and what he did last year and then this year. Just 3 earned runs in 19 innings.
That's a changeup from Rondon. And Desmond and Tyler Chatwood conversing. Raimel Tapia is going to pinch hit for Chatty. Ground ball to second.
Well, the Rockies' Wives Charity Grab Bag is June 15th and 16th. You can purchase a mystery bag with an autographed baseball. Stop by section 131 while supplies last. You can get a Rockies player, maybe manager Bud Black. Rockies.com/community for more information.
Raimel Tapia is at the plate with 1 out. And he's going to ground out to second. Alexi Amarista back with the club today, so Jordan Patterson sent back to Albuquerque. Alexi's got 4 beautiful girls now at home, huh?
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's neat.
His wife and 3 daughters. There's Lexi.
And again, I applaud Major League Baseball for putting this rule in. I know I say it all the time, but just the sheer fact that you need to be there and they're letting you have the time off. Well done.
Absolutely. Trying to get out of the dark ages, right?
Exactly.
15 in a row set down by the Cubs. As Blackman, who's doubled twice, swings at the first offering. Charlie's been behind 0-2 in all 3 at bats. Chatwood, another outstanding outing. Got 12 ground ball outs. Cubs aren't far behind. They have 10 ground ball outs.
Tyler had come in with a 2.68 road ERA, which was 8th best, and now it'll go down even more.
Boy, that was dirty. That was a changeup. 1-2.
And that's the arm he possesses. Part of his problem, as we see the grouping on the Subaru strike zone, was he wasn't throwing enough strikes in the Subaru strike zone. That has been his problem.
Mike Dunn was up also a moment ago, but now it's just Scott Oberg warming in the Rockies bullpen. Rockies and Buddy Black have had to reconfigure things the last week or so with Adam Ottavino on the DL, though Ottavino is healthy, throwing pens, and looks to return in a couple of days.
Maybe even as soon as tomorrow.
Three and 2 on Charlotte.
He's itching to get back out there again, is Adam.
And a walk. So that ends the run of 15 straight retired by the Cubs. It will allow tonight's hitting star to come up. DJ LeMahieu, a 3-run home run back in the second.
That was the big blow of this game, obviously, but off the bat, you and I were kind of looking, well, hopefully this gets over the head. It drives in a run or 2. Instead, it shows the power of DJ and hitting the home run over into the right center field gap.
Hit double digits last year in home runs. And this first pitch is hit the second. Stretch time at Wrigley. The Rockies 4 and the Cubs 1. Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Pretty Thursday evening in the Windy City. The Rockies 4 and the Cubs 1. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Mark Stout. It'll be Scott Oberg taking over in the 7th. Wilson Contreras, the catcher. Javi Baez, the shortstop. And then pinch hitter for Hector Rondon. That's what's on the plate for Oberg, making his 27th appearance this year.
And that's the team leader in appearances for Scott Scola, 17 of those 26 so far. And I look at this the way it is set up, that depending on who's going to pitch hit, and it could be John Jay, it could be Amora Jr., and Joe Maddon will have to play the card first for the pitcher, but I think it might be just 2 hitters for Scott, because if they go with John Jay, the left-hander, then you bring in the lefty, because then you have Schwarber after that.
Contreras 0 for 2, and he gets a 97-mile-an-hour fastball boring in on him, and he fouls it off. It's 0-1. Contreras ground ball to third and a strikeout, and Mike Dunn is preparing. That's a beauty of a pitch at 96, right on the outside corner. It's 0-2.
I think this sets up for Scott also with his slider. If he finishes the slider, that these next 2 hitters, they're real susceptible to sliders down and away.
Pretty good slider. He didn't bite. 1-2.
But that's okay. You throw it again, I think he will.
Tyler Chatwood, 6 innings, a run on 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 98 pitches. His ERA now against the Cubs in his career, it jumps up from 0.69 to 0.95. Just awful.
Send him down.
Fastball, line to right, base hit. Bring up Baez. Well, this is the inning for the Rockies, because you know who's going to throw the 8th, Jake McGee. Jake's been great. You obviously know who's going to throw the 9th. The 7th inning, with the fact that Ottavino's down and Mike Dunn has not been effective the last few weeks, becomes kind of a wild card, where in the month of April, the first portion of May, it really became a 6-inning game for the Rockies.
And that's why their record what it was. Not losing a ball game when they had the lead after the 6th inning, except for the Cincinnati game, where it was locked down. And that shows you the value of Adam and what he can do.
A good job by Oberg to get ahead quickly again. He's 0-2 on Baez. And this ball's well hit to center field. Really well hit. And at the wall, it's caught by Blackmon. Off the bat. You thought that was a 2-run homer, as strong as Baez is.
I thought it was going to be real close, and that's what happened. He didn't quite get it out onto the sweet spot on the Subaru Supermo. And that's why it only went 398 feet instead of 400. And they're going to go with Albert Almora Jr. pinch hitting. What else when you're hitting 400, 6 for 15 on the season?
And a ground ball to third. See if the Rockies can twist one. Yes, they will. Very nice job by Scott Oberg. We move to the 8th inning on the north side. The Rockies 4 and the Cubs 1. Let's look back. The Rockies in the 2nd inning got 4 runs, all with 2 outs. Blue double from Blackmon. That would score Tony Walters. And then DJ LeMahieu came up and he drove the ball to right field. He was eyeballing it. So was Jason Hayward. It was into the basket. 3-run jack. All 4 runs for the Rockies in the 2nd. Tyler Chatwood and now Scott Oberg have made it stand up. That's our Cooney Lexus look back. Nolan's going to lead things off. Pedro Strop is now on the hill for Chicago in the 8th inning. Who came up in the Rockies organization and has had a very long and successful career. Hard throwing right-hander. Was originally a position player.
Signed back in 2002 by the Cubs. Was released, or excuse me, by the Rockies, and then released, signed by Texas, but came to the Cubs. Also with Jake Arrieta from Baltimore.
That was a fruitful deal.
Yes, it was.
Hector Rondon, 2 really good innings. He struck out 1, walked 1. Nothing else across for Rondon. And this ball clubbed deep left field. Schwarber going back, and he makes the catch as he leans into the ivy.
Honestly, if that ball is 2 feet more to the right, that's in the basket. just the way the wall is. Nolan, a high hanging slider. But Schwarber, because out at that wall too, and you play here enough, you know where you are. And Schwarber is positioned right where that mark is. So right there, he knows that the wall starts to go back another 4 feet. So that's why he positions himself there. So if he opens up to his right side, his arm side, he knows he has another 5-7 feet. If he opens to his left side, he's going to hit the wall sooner.
Ball and a strike on Reynolds. And Mark hits a ground ball to Zobrist. He's been busy tonight. 2 outs.
I think Nolan wondering how this ball didn't go out.
So with 2 outs, Cargo at the plate. The Rockies 1 base runner since that 4-run eruption in the second. That was a walk by Blackman last inning with 2 outs. Jake McGee's firing in the Rockies pen. Again, there's the evidence. Indoors. This ball's driven to deep left field. Schwarber's got a beat on it. He'll make the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Pedro Strop. It remains the Rockies 4 and the Cubs 1 on a pretty Chicago evening. Our Kubota pitching performance. Tyler Chatwood back-to-back strong outings. Beat up San Diego his last time, and he dominated the Cubs tonight. Got a bunch of ground ball outs. There's 4 hits against him. The only run came in the first, a home run on an 0-2 pitch by Chris Bryant. 98 pitches over 6 innings. See Foster giving him a hug. Chatwood has put the Rockies in position to capture another first game of a road series. The Rockies 7-3 this year in game 1 of road series. And as you are probably aware, they have not lost a road series this year. It's the longest run in the National League coming out of the gate since the '83 Dodgers. And it is most unlikely because of the Rockies' difficult history on the road. Only 1 winning season away from Denver, and that was 2009, and that was by the slimmest of margins, 41-40 out on the road. Jake McGee to Kyle Schwarber. And he misses ball 1.
For Jake, a lot of impressive numbers this year, but the big one, 30 strikeouts to only 5 walks for Jake. That strikeout to walk ratio is the 5th best among National League relievers.
Schwarber a walk and a strikeout. That was against Chatwood. That's inside, 2-1. Ian Happ switch hitters on deck. And then Chris Bryant.
So according to that, it should be 1-2 on the Subaru strike zone, not 2-1.
That's definitely a strike. There would have been an investigation at the highest levels of government had that not been called a strike. 2-2. And Schwarber barely got a piece. Cubs have been far better this year at home than on the road. In fact, yesterday they had their 5-game winning streak overall terminated in a 6-5 loss, but they had won 8 in a row at home, so it's 8 of their last 9, 19-12 overall. Below 500 out on the road.
That's what they were doing there for 2 or 3 games, or 2 or 3 stretches that they had where they play well at home, go out on the road, and not win a game, come back home, win some.
Yeah, 0-6 to your point on their last road trip. Two and another foul ball from Schwarber on a mid-90s fastball. Jake out of Reno, Nevada. Goes slider, and Schwarber fouls that one off also. You know, that was an outstanding pitch, but it also, Huey, puts in his mind that, okay, I know he throws fastballs 91% of the time, but he's not afraid to throw the slider, which may speed up the heater a little bit, right?
And out of adversity sometimes comes growth, and I think for Jake, some growth last year because he didn't have his heater. He had to throw more off-speed pitches.
Three and two. He went fastball.
Now you just say, well, here's my fastball. I'm going to throw it. You try to hit it.
Rockies have 3 on the right side.
Yeah, and I've got a 4-1 lead.
And he got him. Popped him up. DJ will make the catch. Calls off Mark Reynolds. 1 out. Big out there.
You can get on-demand access to the rooftop with the Rooftop Ballpark Pass. $96 for 8 games, including concession credit. Choose the days and redeem your pass from your phone. Go to Rockies.com/rooftop for more information.
Rockies have 6 hits. They do not have a hit since the 2nd inning. The Cubs have 5 hits. And here's Ian Happ. He's 0 for 3. The rookie takes high ball 1.
Happening 214 right-handed.
Well, this guy's going to hit.
Yeah, just limited at bats. 3 for 14.
He was arguably the best college bat in his draft class. He went 9th overall 2 years ago. We saw him in spring training. He tore it up.
Well, you knew it'd be only a matter of time before he made it up here this year.
Two balls and a strike on Happ. Now 2-2. Happ was a first-team All-American at the University of Cincinnati. He's also a first-team academic All-American. 2-2, and that's fouled off, which had to please his folks naturally, especially Mom, who was a professor at Pitt when he was younger and is now assistant dean at Ohio State University. So academics
came first.
Great importance, as they should be in the Happ household. He was a finance major at Cincinnati. 2-2. Mark thinks he may have a play.
A lot of happenings in college baseball. Super regionals this weekend. Obviously, the draft starts on Monday. Monday through Wednesday of next week.
2-2, got him. Raised the bar a little bit at 96. That is the second out in the 8th for Jake McGee.
Climbing the ladder for Jake. He just beat Happ. He was tardy. 20 coming out of the crouch to set that target.
Chris Bryant, home run. And now he's going to have a fly ball to Cargo, and McGee does his thing in the 8th. Well done, Jake McGee. A 1-2-3-8. We move to the 9th. The Rockies still in charge, 4-1. Tonight, Who Wants Tacos? Fans follow at @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies eclipse the 7-run mark. DJ driven in 3 of the 4. Ian Desmond is 0 for 3, and he's going to face Justin Grimm here in the top of the 9th. Justin Grimm, in a little more than 12 innings, has allowed 6 home runs. That is a number that gets your attention. I should say a little more than 18 innings, has allowed 6 home runs.
But 3 times this year he's been up and down between Chicago and the Des Moines, Iowa Cubs on that shuttle.
And a strike on Desmond. Desmond had 3 hits yesterday. Tonight, a couple of strikeouts and a ground ball to short. Again, the Rockies without a hit since the 2nd inning. They had 6 hits in the first 2 innings. 5 in the 2nd. Rockies came into this ball game with a road ERA, Huey, of 3.38, which is #1 in baseball.
That's, I mean, the correlation between that and the road record is not surprising then, because if you pitch out on the road, you're going to find enough hits to score some runs. You think about tonight. You give up 1 run in 8 innings. You're going to lower that road ERA. You got Greg Holland warming up. But as you mentioned just a moment ago, you haven't scored since the 2nd, so what? You still jumped on him.
And tough night for Desmond. He spikes his bat as he fans, and that will bring up Trevor Story. Trevor 0 for 3. He has 3 strikeouts. Another note on the pitching. The starting rotation for the Rockies is the youngest rotation in baseball, and it's not close. They average 24 years and 26 days. They're the youngest rotation in baseball by almost 2 full years. Tyler Anderson, he's like an old man. 27-year-old.
Tyler Chatwood, who threw tonight, is an old man at 27. It's funny because the other day I was talking to John Gray, just asking him how the simulated game went, how he was feeling. He said, I feel great. But he goes, you know what? He goes, I want to get out there and pitch because some of these young guys, I was like, time out, John.
What
time
are you?
out. Yeah, it's 24. Some of these young guys, of course, I understand what he's saying, but he was having fun watching, but he wanted to join the party.
Sure. You know, moving forward, we just have to talk about the economics of the game. All of those guys are controllable for a long period of time for the Rockies, with the exception of Tyler Chatwood. Outside 2-2. There's more coming with the Yency Almontes, the Peter Lamberts. And there's 2 outs. Let's give you an idea of who we're going to see tomorrow. German Marquez, rookie starter, will make his 9th start, looking for victory number 5. And Mike Montgomery, kind of an emergency start. Kyle Hendricks was scratched with tendonitis in his right hand. He was placed on the disabled list. So Montgomery has been working out of the pen. He will take the baseball for the Cubs, the left-hander. And again, we're on the air at 11:30 tomorrow morning back home. 3 straight day games. There's German. Strike 1 on Walters. Tony, an infield hit and a run scored in the 2nd, 1 for 3.
And he had that first hit in that 2nd inning after 2 outs, a little squibber to third base that he beat out. But there's no issues with Marquez's thumb. Talked to him today in the dugout. He said, "Yep, it feels good. I'm ready to go." It's good news. Remember, he was hit on that right hand in Seattle trying to reach back for that baseball.
1-2.
That's part of the reason why it also worked out nice. You had the off day where you flip-flopped he and Tyler Chatwood. But Chatty goes first today instead of tomorrow.
John Lester started for the Cubs. He went 5 innings. He gave up the 4 runs on 6 hits. He finished strong. He retired the last 10 he faced. A walk and 5 strikeouts. Chatwood for 6, Oberg for 1, McGee for 1. This ball is in the air to Jason Hayward in right, and the Rockies still without a hit since the 2nd, but they're 3 outs away from doing their favorite thing, high fives and handshakes. Greg Holland will look for save number 22 when we come back to Wrigley. Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By the Lodge Casino, your first choice for fun. And by Jack in the Box, try the new sweet or spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich, available for a limited time. Night has fallen on the city of Chicago. The Rockies in the first of 4 lead the Cubs 4-1. They need 3 more outs, and they believe they have the right man for the job. The Major League saves leader, Greg Holland, is out there. A minuscule 1.25 ERA. An even smaller whip of 0.78. The league hitting just 139 against him.
Reliever of the month for April and May, and it was really not even close.
Here's Anthony Rizzo. And the fastball outside, ball 1. Rizzo a strikeout, a base hit, and a walk. He'll be followed by Zobrist and then Jason Hayward. Rizzo pulls the baseball predominantly, so the Rockies shift Story to the right side of second base. 2-0.
For Rizzo, he stands right on the plate. And then for Holland, if he throws that split or the slider going down, your natural reaction to the hitter is you're going to be out in front. That's why you position all those guys over there. Mark Reynolds is up about 2 steps in front of the grass, kind of hugging the line.
And that's 3-0.
There's Mark. He's not playing no doubles. You don't do that with nobody on in a 3-run lead, but back enough, and he's just a dead pull hitter.
Whoa, 4-pitch walk.
I'm not sure we've seen that this year.
Probably not. Just pretty much all in the same location on the Subaru strike zone. The last one spiked.
Just the 8th walk for Greg in 21 2/3 innings. former teammates going head-to-head now. Ben Zobrist and Greg Holland. Zobrist 0 for 6 in his career against Greg.
5 straight out of the zone by Holland. Tony giving him a little fist pump.
I think you got to go out and talk to him. I know Greg's a veteran. That's 6 straight, not really close to the zone.
Hasn't thrown much lately. That's a strike. 2-1.
Check it. Nope.
3-1.
Look from the side. Correct call from Marvin Hudson down the third baseline.
This is popped up out of play. 3-2. Sometimes I think for a pitcher, when the mounds, ground crews do such a great job. The mounds are all supposed to be uniform and certainly replicated in the bullpen, but it could be subtle difference. I haven't seen Greg look at the mound as if to say I'm having trouble with it, but
I think what makes it now unique is because you're not even involved in the game, sitting out in the bullpen the whole time.
I don't know if you feel the energy under there. We'll have to ask some of the...
I know they pipe in some music. They had that issue the first homestand. The Cubs felt like it was so sterile out there. They needed to get some noise, but it is a different environment.
Zobrist backs out.
When you were warming up before down there, you had people right in your grill. They were talking to you, they were yelling at you, but at least you felt like you were there, you were present.
The adrenaline rush.
Well, it hits you immediately. Yeah. The fans will let you know.
It's like you're coming out of a closet out of that bullpen. 3-2, center field. Charlie's right there. This will be the first out. I'll bring up Hayward. So at first. In the bullpen we trust. This guy has made a world of difference down there. You want to build your bullpens backwards from the 9th inning. Was one of the game's best prior to Tommy John, and now after Tommy John, he has been the best in 2017. Hayward swings over the top of a slider.
It's the first slider that he's thrown for a strike. Now, he hadn't thrown many in the 10 pitches or 11 pitches. It might just be the second one he's thrown.
Sometimes, you know, 6, 8 pitches in, you find a release point if you're scuffling a little bit. Hopefully, that's the case for Holland. 1-1, just above the top of the strike zone. I think guys who pitch in the 9th inning, Huey, you have to have the requisite stuff, but you also have to have that fearless personality, the adrenaline rush type of guy.
Not every guy likes it. Not every guy wants the last 3 outs. Not every guy wants the last shot of a basketball game.
No.
They don't like it. The quarterback with 2 minutes to go. But Greg Holland, he thrives on it.
That's a vintage dirt ball slider that appears a strike for about 58 feet. So Hayward's behind 1-2. He has hit it on the ground 3 times tonight. Schoolboy star in the Atlanta area. 1-2, ground ball foul.
Go ahead and hit it on the ground again and let the Rockies turn their 3rd double play tonight. They have 71 double plays on the year, tied for 1st with Milwaukee and Texas.
And 2 more tonight. One out in the 9th with the Rockies up 4-1. And this isn't hit hard enough, but it is out number 2. And I'll bring up the catcher, Wilson Contreras. Contreras, the 25-year-old from Venezuela, 2 outs in the 9th. And this should do it. On the ground to Story, to first, and the Rockies win the ball game 4-1 over the Cubs. And the first of 4 in the books for Colorado, and their first 5-game winning streak of 2017. They're now 16 games north of 500. Again, they take down the defending world champs 4-1, despite the fact that the Rockies didn't have a hit after the 2nd inning. Good pitching, that's what it's all about. 6 strong from Tyler Chatwood, and then the bullpen did their thing. Or Jimmy John's delivery of the game, DJ LeMahieu. An opposite field 3-run home run against the team that originally drafted him. Terrific ball game for the Rockies. Great way to start their 7-game road trip and the 4-day stay in Chicago. Rockies 4, Cubs 1 to our Denver studios. And Jenny Cavnar. Jenny, it's all yours.